Morning class. Okay, everyone remain standing, let us bow our head and feel the presence of God. Of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, before you take your seat, please arrange your chairs properly and pick up the piece of papers under your chairs. Okay, you may now take your seat. So class, do we have any absentees today? Very good. So our topic today is about making instructional materials using open-ended tools in teaching learning units. So at the end of our discussion, you are expected to define the different types of open-ended tools, to explain the importance of IMs or instructional materials using open-ended tools, and appreciated the salient contribution of open-ended tools in teaching language units. Okay, so let's start with giving a definition to this word. So what is IMs or instructional materials? So IMs are the content or information conveyed within a course. So the example of these are lectures, readings, textbooks, multimedia components, and other resources in course. Okay. So your main duty as a teacher, as someone who transmits knowledge and education, is to help the children learn and grow and develop cognitively. So therefore, instructional materials are crucial in assisting the child's learning and mental growth. So this holds true whether you are physically present in front of your students during class or you are instructing in a virtual environment. So these materials can be both face-to-face and online classroom. However, some must be modified or redesigned to be effective for the online environment. So the best instructional materials are aligned with all other elements in the course, including learning objectives, assessments, and activities. In class, we have 5 types of instructional materials, namely print, audio, audiovisual, and electronic interactive. So let's start with prints. The example of prints are textbooks, pamphlets, handouts, study guides, and manuals. While the example of audio are the cassettes, microphone, and podcast. While when we say visual, the example of these are the charts, real objects, photographs, and transparencies. While when we say audiovisual, the example of these are slides, tapes, films, film strips, television, video, and multimedia. And then last one, electronic interactive. So the example of these are computers, graphing, calculators, and tablets. Okay, so what is the importance of instructional materials? So it provides facts and information. So it allows students to engage in the application of concepts and provide an opportunity for evaluation, supporting learning content, engages and teaches learners, and evaluate knowledge. Okay. So the main purpose of using IMs or instructional materials is it provides the core information that students will experience, learn, and apply during a course. So they hold the power to either engage or demotivate students. So now, what are the benefits of instructional materials for teachers? So learning materials can assist teachers in an important professional duty. So the differentiation of instruction is the tailoring of lessons and instruction to the different learning styles and capacities within your classroom. So what are the characteristics of a good instructional materials? So number 1, be adaptive or being adaptive. So every student comes to a classroom with his or her own reserved prior knowledge. So on the subject at hand, psychologists call this level of knowledge the student's proximal zone of development. Second one is focuses on concepts and principles. So one argument for the non-directive approach to instruction is that students develop lasting problem-solving skills that aid them in the future situation rather than learning to solve only the problem in front of them. Then, the third one is taking into account the students' ongoing cognitive activities. So as an educator, take notes of patterns in your students' learning process in order to customize your teaching as much as possible. Okay. What are the roles of instructional materials? So it represents teachers' primary teaching resource, so providing the basis for the content of the lessons, balance and thought, so the kinds of language practice students take part on. So remember that in any situation, IMs serve as supplement for the teacher's instruction. So now, what do we mean when we say open-ended tools? So open-ended tools is an ICT tools that help make learning more meaningful, concrete, efficient, and encouraging. So it enables the educators to access it freely. So these tools are used to build, create, or combine, make something new. So basically, these tools that are mentioned are the digital tools, software, and applications that will be used and accessible to the educator as well as to students. So we have 4 types of open-ended tools, and let's start with word processing document. So it is any text-based document that looks the same whether it is viewed on a computer screen or printed out in a hard copy. So it is a software in which you could edit out some text-based documents, insert pictures, shapes, and even some graphs. So this would be a tool to creatively present or create a handout or activity for worksheets to students. So example of this is the Microsoft Word and the WPS Office Free Writer. So the second one is the slide presentation software. So it's a desktop or cloud-based application that allows the user to present information to an audience using a sequence of multimedia formats. So it is a slide in which a teacher can present an information, pictures, or other multimedia to a wide range of audience. So example of this is the Google Slide and Canva. Third one is the electronic reference materials. So these are various sources that provide background information or quick facts on a given topic. So they are typically books that are not meant to be read cover to cover but rather are consulted to gather specific pieces of information or to find a quick facts. So example of these is encyclopedia, maps, and almanac. Okay. Number 4, tablet and cell phone application. So mobile or tablet application that can make tasks easier to complete and processes more consistent, secure, efficient, and effective. So example of this is Quizlet. Okay. So now, what do you mean when we say IMs or instructional materials? Very good. So what are the types of instructional materials? Okay, very good. So next, what's the importance and what do we mean when we say open-ended tools? Okay, very good. And what are the 4 types of open-ended tools? Okay, so I guess everyone understands our topic today. Remember class that instructional materials or IMs is also known as teaching learning materials. So it is a collection of materials or any resources that a teacher may use in teaching and learning situations to help achieve the desired learning objectives. So using open-ended tools in teaching learning resources represents a switch to a learner-centered method. So they allow students to interact with words, symbols, and ideas to develop their abilities in reading, listening, solving, viewing, thinking, speaking, and writing using media and technology or any other materials. Okay, and that would be all for today. Goodbye class.